traders at UBA say that they expect active trading sessions in the T-bill secondary market next week on the back of improved system liquidity. And I have Dumebi Udegbunam, is a fixed income trader at UBA. He joins me to wrap up activities for the week. Thank you so much for your time today, Dumebi. Let's first start with what the sentiments we're seeing play out today. You said the T-bill space was largely ignored.
Good afternoon, Kenneth. Thanks for having me. So this week has been an eventful week. We had an OMO auction, had an NTB auction as well. Well, at the NTB auction, we saw rates drop to 6.9 from where they were. The CBN were able to sell more compared to how much was maturing. They sold about 235 billion compared to the previous auction where they sold about 187 billion. At the OMO auction end, we only had about 19 billion being mopped up with all rates maintained. So it's been an eventful week on the TB side of the market. On the bond side of the market, we noticed a bit of apathy in the market. However, there's been intermittent mixed sentiment on both sides of the curve, the long and short end of the curve. We've seen this slight hinge up in rates by about 0.5 basis points to close at 13.1. So that's the roundup of how the market has traded this week.
Well, yesterday we saw that OMO auction come about there. For you, what was the biggest takeaway?
And the big takeaway is that we're reaching a point where now we're seeing a drop in liquidity, especially in inflows. If you do a month-on-month analysis of inflows compared to, if you compare October to the new month we're entering November, we're going to see a drop in about 260 billion in inflows. We'll have no coupon payments coming in the rest of the year. And also in terms of OMO inflows and NTB inflows, we're seeing a drop in that. As our last month, OMO inflows were about 268. This month, in November, we're going to have about 267. NTB, we had about 288 billion that matured in the month of November. We only have 227. So this plays a lot in terms of system liquidity. However, we're yet to see fact payments coming. So we expect that will probably come in later today or next month, which might further spur some slight bullish sentiments in the market.
All right, but in terms of the yield environment, what are your expectations going into next month?
And we're going to next month, like I earlier said, in terms of inflow, the market might be a bit tight. We only have, for next week, we only have about 53 billion maturing in OMO maturity. That's on the 2nd of November. So that would play a lot in terms of system liquidity. We might only see slight bullish sentiments when we see, the fact payments coming.
How would this play out for yields?
Well, we might see a slight drop in yields when that happens. But after that, going into next week, we might see it rally back up due to this tightness in system liquidity. Throughout this week, the system has been in a repo. As our yesterday's figure was at a negative 125 billion. So we see a lot about where we stand in terms of liquidity.
All right, October has been quite a month for the naira, though. What are your expectations going into next month?
Well, for the naira, we've seen a growth in our external reserves owing to two things: our euro bond and also the oil prices. Oil price right now is trading at about $84. The last time we saw this level trade was, I think, in 2012. Yes, in 2014, I beg your pardon, October 13, 2014, where the oil prices traded as high as 85.78. So right now, we're seeing that same level. So hence why we've seen the increase in the foreign reserves to go as high as 40.1 billion. The last time we've seen this high was this same period, 2014. So we expect to see a stable trading atmosphere in the naira. We've seen an appreciation in the prior markets and also a stability in the I&E window.
And about looking into next week, what's the biggest thing you're looking out for next week?
Well, for next week, we're just going to see how this market might take into the fact payment that might come in. We are hearing feelers in the market that about 799 billion would be paid. So we'll see how the market reacts to that. And we also have an OMO maturity on the 2nd, 53. The only big event we should also pay attention to is the MPC meeting, which is going to be the last for the year. We've seen positive growth indices for Nigeria, especially on the inflation. Inflation has, after a penultimate high of 18.17 in March, we've seen 5 consecutive drops to 17.01 currently right now. So we expect, those are the informations that might really steer the market in the month of November.